Ladies and gentlemen, lovers of war, traders of great renown, I, the Strategic Indian, bid you welcome to my channel, where our motto is think, practice thinking. If you like the content, please do not forget to like and subscribe. Also, leave a comment, which will greatly help with the almighty YouTube algorithm. Ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, I shall be doing a deep dive to investigate which building set in Total War Attila generates the most wealth for a landlocked province. In Attila, there are 182 regions, equally divided into 62 provinces. Of these, 32% are completely landlocked. Given the large number of permutations possible with coastal provinces, we shall not consider them to ease the calculation, although they represent the vast majority of your provinces. The video shall get unnecessarily complicated, as each coastal province shall have different regions where the ports are present. This is notwithstanding the fact that they may have extremely lucrative resources such as olives, gold, wine, etc., taking up building slots, which shall throw calculations into further disorder. Landlocked provinces, no matter which part of the map they are in, shall always be indistinguishable from each other. For our calculations, this provides a uniform starting point, allowing us to compare each of the three building sets from a purely wealth generation point of view. We shall not take resources into consideration for this precise reason. I have already shown you that it is far more profitable to build industry for wealth generation than to build up and rely on trade resources. Broadly, there are three distinct building sets: Barbarian, Desert, and Roman. Each set consists of a subset of their distinct civic, cultural, industry, commerce, sanitation, and the city or town building set. Most buildings shall give you a mixture of wealth, sanitation, public order, and food. Let us clearly define our priorities. Number 1, maximize wealth, and secondly, maintain slightly positive food, public order, and sanitation in each of the provinces. Now, let us try to understand the rationale behind this prioritization. Wealth generated from each of your provinces is required to maintain your armies, recruit soldiers, invest into additional buildings, or to repopulate parts of the map devastated by the oncoming Huns. If you want to know how to beat the Huns in the early game, please check out my videos here and here. Each province must also be self-sufficient in food, else it shall suffer 25% in reduction of wealth generated, which causes great pain to min-maxers like myself. Moreover, the global food generated from all your provinces also gives growth to each of your provinces, which is indispensable to quickly build up your provinces. Take care. This growth bonus reaches an asymptotic limit of 6 at around 380 global food and does not go beyond that. So, with 182 provinces completely under your control, it would only take 2 food per province. This is of course late game, when you have eliminated all your opponents. But early, mid, and late game, keeping 10 to 30 food per province is more than enough to reach this limit. Moreover, autumn months gives each province a plus 17 food bonus and shall help in maintaining this critical limit. This is why instead of spamming farms, I prefer to build more lucrative industry buildings to maximize wealth generation. This shall be our focus in this calculation too. Public order and sanitations are non-negotiable in each province too and must be kept as close to zero as possible. Incessant revolts and disease outbreaks are not only frustrating, they might weaken your armies and garrisons enough for the enemy to take rapid advantage of your already precarious situation, given how powerful and intelligent the AI factions are in Total War Attila. As the game progresses, the fertility of each province shall, as you reach turns 20, 100 and 125, decrease by 1, corresponding to 400, 420 and 425 CE. Further drops are there at 434 CE and I believe 454 CE, but those are, you would have won the game if you follow my series and expert level tips on how to dominate in Total War Attila. Thus, a fertile province such as Venetia, which starts with a fertility of 6, shall be rendered to meager fertility of 3 in 425 CE. To further stress the system, let us, and considering that the vast majority of your provinces have fertility of 3 on and beyond, you are left with at least 1 fertility left over for most of your provinces. Therefore, the calculations shall assume a fertility of 1 in each of your landlocked provinces. Let us begin with the Barbarian factions. This set is available to the Slavic, Celtic, Viking, Barbarian kingdoms and migrating horde factions. Their buildings are characterized by poorer sanitation, lower industry bonuses and dismal wealth from agricultural buildings. Advantages. Number 1. Lacking purely military production buildings, they recruit their units from their farms, industry and civic buildings. This allows them to quickly project force and train units as their empire expands. This is advantageous from a wealth generation point of view in that building slots are not used up for purely military buildings, which often cost either huge amounts of upkeep or food to maintain, thus helping offset the lower incomes generated from their buildings. Number 2. It may appear counterintuitive, but Barbarian factions can research faster than the other 2 sets. This is because their civic building, Hall of Elders, provides plus 15% increase to research rate and public order and wealth while costing food. It is a good idea to build this building in every province as you expand. The other sets have libraries giving higher research rate, but only provide wealth, making balancing public order a nightmare and therefore remain unbuilt by players. Disadvantages. Sanitary buildings of the Barbarian set are non-wealth producing. They are inadequate and therefore require 3 out of your maximum 14 slots available per province to meet your squalor needs. 2. Their food markets give the lowest food of all 3 sets. Although their bonus of 10% wealth generation from all buildings in the province makes them a must build for each province. 3. Weak industry. The Barbarian T4 industry building, the Bonecrafters Guild, provides 2000 gold as compared to 2500 from the carpet maker available to the desert faction. That's 500 gold less per there. So if you build 3 of such buildings, you lose 1500 gold per province compared to the desert faction. Keeping these in mind, I have come up with the following build for my landlocked barbarian faction set, making me 12,000 gold per province before bonuses. Let's get into it. The Amber Market, giving 2,500 flat gold, is chosen for the city building slot instead of the 2,000 gold providing Bone Crafters Guild. The absolutely indispensable food market with its 10% wealth on all buildings in the province gives us 1200 gold bonus given that we generate 12,000 gold. For public order, 2 slots are used consisting of 1 mead hall and 1 hall of elders. This allows barbarian factions to supercharge research, allowing them to unlock both elite units and higher tier buildings faster. The only other faction which can comfortably do this is Himyar, a desert faction with their food costing tier 4 religious building. But since we have already precluded religion from this discussion, it does not come into play. Number 4. Now comes the painfully unproductive part. The 3 must-have sanitation buildings, which do provide fantastic growth but no income. This chain single-handedly brings down the wealth generation potential of the barbarians. Number 5. For the town slots, industry, farms and sanitation have to be used in each of your towns. Given that their industry buildings do not provide any bonuses to agricultural income, the already poor farms of the barbarians remain criminally undeveloped. Number 6. We are left with net positive food after developing our cities and towns to minimum level 2. This allows for credible defense against enemy attacks and revolts. Number 7. We end up with a respectable 12,000 gold per province, a landlocked one at that. There is only one bonus providing building, which happens to be the food market, pushing up our income to 13,200. But that's it. Assuming a 20% corruption, we have a take-home income of just north of 10,000. Breaking up this wealth into its categories, we see extremely poor performance from their agricultural buildings of only 1175 gold. Cultural income is double that at nearly 2500 gold. Commerce building in this landlocked province is a respectable 3500 gold. Keep in mind, we cannot build any ports in this charge, which would have given us 2500 gold from one commercial port, one tier 4 commercial trade port, if we had a port. Lastly, industry providing 4000 gold comes in as a clear contributor and winner, although its potential remains underutilized greatly by the barbarians. They do have slave markets giving them gold and industry income bonus, but we cannot build that given the food requirements not being built, and the bonus is far less than that provided by the food market. This completes the barbarian set. Feel free to pause and look. These images shall be made available on my Ko-Fi page. Special thanks to Dakota Sifford for contributing. Next, we come to the desert building set available to the imaginatively named desert factions. I think they went up on a mountain, sat there, contemplated their lives before they came up with this name. And also to the Sassanid Empire. Their primary advantage is that they are the only truly climate independent set, with the camel farm always providing a fixed food income. Secondly, their city sanitation buildings is a wealth producing one. This is the only one which does so, and it's quite efficient, therefore requiring only one other sanitation slot. Lastly, their industry buildings outperforms every other civilization. Their principal disadvantages lie in the requirement of a dedicated, expensive military production chain. These can only be built in select locations and might be far away from your front lines as your empire expands. Lastly, their academies do not provide public order and are difficult to routinely build, thus decelerating your overall progress. Keeping these considerations in mind, I have come up with the following set for the desert factions. Number 1. Given the food stress attributed to this part of the world, their T4 food market provides a dismal 400 commercial income. While giving a 15% interest to all agriculture income, this does not provide any redemption given the low income from camel farms anyways, which we are going to require to meet our food requirements. Their Tier 4 Oriental market to the casual observer provides 500 less wealth than the Barbarian amber market. However, upon closer inspection, it shines with the 15% on all commercial income. This gives us close to 1300 gold bonus and therefore outshines the Barbarian food market by miles. A must build. This building requires the desert kingdoms to control the spice resource, which might prove logistically challenging to, for example, the Gadamantians, who start quite far away from it. Public order is provided by gardens and the polo pitch, which for just 140 total food cost, a camel farm gives 130 food, they provide both income and moderate wealth. No academies can be built for desert factions, as then the provinces become public order nightmares. Thus, unlocking higher tier buildings and units remains difficult unless religious buildings are considered. Sanitation buildings, as we mentioned, are much better, with the city sanitation building known as the Royal Hammam providing a mixture of wealth, public order and sanitation. A truly masterly building. I use this in every province over the non-wealth producing fountains in each of my towns. Therefore, with one hammam and one fountain, I can keep the squalor manageable. Desert factions have the sun-scorched cultural trait which gives them +2 sanitation to every region, further lowering the chance of disease outbreak. For our food requirement, I have used the Fertility independent camel farms, giving an extraordinary 130 food. With just 2 such buildings and a food market, we have net positive food to build up some towns or city to tier 2. This makes the desert factions, as mentioned, completely immune to climate change as the game progresses in Attila. A truly magnificent achievement. Finally, for industry, we use the excellent carpet maker, giving a flat 2500 gold, which beats both Barbarian as well as Roman equivalents for base income. Given the efficiency of their sanitation building and climate independent farms, I have been able to accommodate a caravanserai, which gives excellent commercial income and bonuses. This is an often overlooked building and underutilized. However, it becomes a must build in provinces with ports, where in conjunction with tier 4 trade ports, they are able to turbocharge your wealth production. Finally, we arrive at 13,325 gold which, when coupled with the wide range of bonuses, takes us close to 15,000 gold per province. Assuming a 20% corruption, we are left with nearly 12,000 gold, which beats the unwashed barbarians soundly by 1200 gold per province per turn. This equates to nearly 5,000 gold, given there are 4 turns per year per province. A thorough drubbing. The barbarians never stood a chance. We are now finally coming to the crowd favorite, the Roman building set. In the vanilla game, this is available to the Eastern and Western Roman empires alone, which jointly occupy the lion's share of the map. The Roman aqueduct network and their sheep farm are 2 of the best buildings in the game. The problems they face are the same as the desert faction. Additionally, given the immense strain they face from being surrounded by enemies, significant investment has to be done in the military, which slows their wealth generation. We begin with the excellent wine and slave emporia, which, in addition to excellent base income, provide powerful cultural and industry bonuses. For public order, we use the circus and the governor's palace. For the Western Roman Empire, this building gives a 10% bonus on all your buildings, something similar to the food market of the barbarians, but it is rendered far more potent by the higher base income of the Romans. Finally, for the last building slot, I choose the absolutely epic and the most OP building in the game, the aqueduct network. This building alone can take care of all your sanitation needs, freeing up slots for wealth generation. While this building requires maintenance, it is a paltry 200 gold, and I prefer it over the town slot, the T4 Thermae, which although provides wealth but requires high amounts of food and does a poor job of sanitation at that. Long story short, aqueduct network is overpowered. If you capture one intact, make sure you do not dismantle it. Let's go over to the town slots. I have chosen a symmetrical build of 1 sheep, 1 cattle and 1 leather manufacturer in each. This is where the second most overpowered building is revealed, the sheep farm. The Roman sheep farm is exactly equivalent in all respects to the desert one. However, the latter cannot build any given the poor performance of the rest of the buildings in that set, relying instead on the camel farm. The Romans can and therefore do. The slightly negative food which appears very late game and therefore can be offset using a governor or simply knocking down one of the levels of the town hall. There is a slight amount of squalor, but I'm going to risk it. That will give a 2% chance of a disease outbreak. I'll take it. Their leather manufacture also comes in clutch, providing a flat 15% to this enormous agricultural income bonus. The slave emporium further increases the industry income, and thus you have a loop of interconnected bonuses. They are self-synergistic. This leaves the 2 other civilizations scratching their balding heads. The Romans come in for the dropkick of a combination of industry and an agricultural powerhouse, making an industry proponent like me begging you to build sheep farms across your whole empire. The Roman base income is similar to the desert set, but the bonuses leaves them with the sand in their eyes racing to an eye-wateringly high 16,500 plus gold from a single landlocked province per turn. Post-corruption, Assuming 20%, it is coincidentally the same as your base income. But still, your take-home gold is 1300 more than the desert set. A clear winner, ladies and gentlemen. Let us look at all this data next to each other, not only to identify the winner, but to precisely understand the individual factors. As we all guessed, the Romans are the winner, providing the highest post-corruption income of 13,000 gold plus per landlocked province. This is 1300 more than that of the desert and nearly 3000 more than the barbarian civilizations. Let us go over their individual contributors. We see how the Roman agricultural income is nearly 2.5 times that of the barbarian civilization and 3.5 times more than the desert civilizations, respectively. This is possible only due to an overpowered aqueduct network which remains silent in the data, but its freshness exudes through. You see now let's go to the agricultural income in purple. It is equal for both the desert and for the barbarian and the desert civilizations, but significantly lower for the Romans. This implies that the epics composed in the barbarian halls and the songs in the Shah's palace are equally mellifluous, while all the Romans could manage are crude swear words which remain etched to this day in Pompeii. A shameful, although hilarious display. Check out the Pompeii graffiti in case you have not already. The commerce income for each of the three civilizations turned out to be surprisingly similar. However, with the caravanserai and a coastal province, the desert civ should have significant advantages, but that is a story for another day. Finally, industry. The desert proves to be a clear winner, leaving unwashed barbarian and lazy olive-sucking Romans far behind by a 1000 and 1700 margin respectively. Alas, given the weakness of the desert civ, it is unable to capitalize on its most prized asset due to its inability to accommodate a slave market. Of all these factions, the barbarians are able to unlock these buildings fastest due to their elder hall and accelerated research rate in the provinces. Coupled with town sanitation building, which provides growth, they might develop themselves faster than the other two civs. Where they definitively lose out are their lack of synergistic bonus. In fact, they don't have any. Since we are looking from a purely wealth generation point of view, let's hear it for the Romans, who remain a clear winner, the golden civilization of Attila. Stay cool, everyone. This has been the Strategic Indian, signing out.